start with Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley, tracking all that winter weather for us. And Heather, what do we need to know this morning as we head out?
I think the biggest thing is that you're good now.
Yeah.
Good for the next few hours. This is still on track to be especially a late morning to midday changeover and continuing into the afternoon to evening. That's why I was stressing that really a lot of folks would see changes by lunch break to the time the kids would normally get out of school, to the evening commute. So a daytime changeover honestly can be worse because folks might say, oh, it's fine now, and then an hour later it's not. And so that's kind of the key here. We have a brief rain that still has to move in on the leading edge. Then it starts mixing and changing over to snow. You can see that heavier snowfall potential north, touch and go here, lighter to moderate snowfall throughout the Central Valley to northeast Tennessee, and then it picks up even more tops of the Smokies. But the timeline in terms of that is late morning to midday, more snowfall midday to evening. That's when you could have some slushy treated roads, but then some slick back roads for sure. Snowfall does become spottier later tonight. The carryover, the first alert tomorrow, is because it will stay below freezing. So we could have some patchy ice as well on back roads. So right now it is pretty quiet. We've got a couple of flurries actually clipping us at Wayne County to McCurry County. It's 29 in Monticello, 28 Crossville, 30 Athens to Knoxville, and 32 Morristown. Few clouds, mild, run the errands, got the doctor's appointment this morning, you're good. Our patches of dense fog is the only thing that could slow you down in McMinn, Blount, and Knox counties at the moment. And again, just a few flurries in Monticello for now. That's because there's just a few little light snow showers popping up in Kentucky. This is the system right here. And I want to point out that that rain-snow line is right on track to our forecast right there at the edge of Tennessee. So you see this bright white? That's the bursts of heavier snow that are developing right now between Memphis and Nashville. That's going to be sliding across the state over the next several hours. And then there's that frigid air that slides in behind it for tomorrow. So the first alert weather day does start later this morning with that quick change from rain to snow. And then that can be very impactful through the evening hours. And then tomorrow, of course, that very cold air impactful for your Friday. So I've got you covered on that latest track where you live here in just a moment.
Heather, thanks. And time to get a look at your first alert traffic this morning. As Heather mentioned, those patches of dense fog there just south of Knoxville. You might see some if you're traveling in the Maryville area or Blount County there. But really no issues to let you know about this morning. As Heather said, you're good this morning so far. But if you do see some of those TDOT crews, even county road crews, they're in those big trucks, they are pre-treating those roads this morning. So move over, give them some extra time as they're working to keep those roads safe for us this morning.
Yeah, those crews are working around the clock to make sure those roads are drivable. This morning, they're using a salt brine, a mixture of salt and water to keep the roads from becoming too slick. They say it protects pavements from temperatures as low as -6 degrees. Once the snow comes, they'll fill their trucks with salt with the hopes that this treatment keeps the roads from freezing. For them, the work just doesn't stop.
That's why everybody around here snows 4-letter word.
Snowden hopes drivers will do their part.
If you do see one of our guys out, just give them a little space because they can't stop as easy and they're a lot bigger piece of equipment. We just want to make sure everybody's safe.
Well, if the roads get slick today, crews will start with the main roads, then start working on those less traveled back roads.
And this morning, this is a live look at I-40 through Knoxville. TDOT crews picked back up at 5 o'clock this morning. They stopped yesterday evening to get some sleep. Help trucks will be posted in Roane and Campbell counties, and crews will have wellness packages for drivers who may get stuck on the road. And TDOT says every county in the state has fully stocked salt bins with snowplow drivers and brine truck drivers on alert. TDOT says when the snow hits, the priorities are keeping the interstates and the busiest state roads clear. Meanwhile, crews in Sevier County are still working to restore power from Monday's snowfall. The Sevier County Electric General Manager says the weight of the wet snow is the biggest problem. He flew in a helicopter over the county to learn some of the hardest hit areas.
We're working really, really long hours trying to get as many on as possible because the temperatures obviously is going to be impacted. It's cold, and we know our customers are hurting, and we just we're doing everything we can to get everybody on as quickly as possible. But
they have about 40 line crews helping along with crews from Georgia and North Carolina, hoping to get power restored to everyone by the end of the week.
And remember to keep your phone charged and close to you, and make sure you have the WVLT First Alert Weather app. We'll be sending you all the latest alerts that you need today right to your phone.
Well, continuing coverage this morning, friends and school staff at Greenville High School are hoping for the best as 16-year-old Tegan Welch remains in the hospital. Welch and 2 others were shot during a custody exchange Monday in White Pine. Last night's vigil brought together school staff, students, and community members to pray for their classmate and their stepfather. her stepfather. Bandmates and teammates say Welch is the light in these times.
She's just like a ball of joy and jokes, and like she always can make anything funny. Like even the darkest of times can be funny with her.
At last check, Welch is still at UT Medical Center in critical condition. Friends continue to hold out hope that she pulls through.
Well, if your kid tests positive for COVID-19 but doesn't have any symptoms, Maryville City Schools says they can't stop them from coming to school and they don't have to quarantine. The change is sparking confusion because some districts are adopting different policies. Like Knox County, specifically, students must have a mask and are asked to follow quarantine procedures recommended by their doctor. The ruling from a federal judge striking the state's one-size-fits-all COVID-19 bill gives school boards the power to make their own decisions, which is allowing Maryville to make the change.
The decision prevents the state from having the discretion to make blanket rules on that sort of thing, and the statute had to do with masking anyway, more than anything else.
Well, we spoke with the State Department of Education about this. They've provided us with a statement saying that because the special session bill is the subject of an ongoing lawsuit, they're advising each school district to work with attorneys locally to decide how they want to proceed. And it's not just COVID that has hospitals full right now, also the flu. And doctors say it is possible to have both viruses at once, a combination known as what else but flu-rona. It's not all that common, but that's because people aren't often tested for both if they do test positive for one. Part of the reason for that is the symptoms are extremely similar.
Just a lot of respiratory viruses. So our COVID numbers went up in October. They came back down, we thought, and then they kind of are now right back up on the rise. We're starting to see the flu.
Cough, fever, muscle ache, fatigue, all common signs of both the flu and the Omicron